Hi, Ogechi. I see you. I see you. I see you. I'm just waiting a couple of more minutes so we can have more people join in. Uh, Hello, Ade Kemi. Kemi, I see you. I see you. All right, I have Ogechi here already, so I'm just gonna accept you. Hello, hello. Waiting for connection. Hi,
Hello, good
Ogechi. Hello. Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Hi.
Hi, hi. Thank you for joining. All right. Thank you, everybody. It's that time of Saturday again with EPR on our Insta Life. And I will just introduce what we're doing today. So, for those who are just joining EPR for the first time, EPR, that is Esther Preparation Room, and we are a group of Christian professional women with the mission to empower Christian women to fulfill their God's given potential by developing their gifts and talents in the marketplace. And we have various events, various activities, which this is one of every Saturday. You can look out at this same time where we introduce our various professional women, various professional leaders in EPR. So, and today we have with us Ogechi. I am so
Good
excited.
afternoon. So glad to be here. So glad to be part of the
I am
conversation.
so excited. We have. Oh,
Same here.
please tell me if I do not pronounce your last name very well, but
No, you
but
pronounce it
I'm
Ogechi.
yes, Ogechi Ucheatu.
Ucheatu, yes.
All right. So we have Ogechi with us today, and you are all in for a blast. You are all in for a blast. All right. Ogechi is a certified life coach, an inspirational speaker, and a creative writer. She offers professional coaching and corporate workshop sessions to help others discover their purpose and maximize their God-given talents. And in all of this as well, she is also one of our leaders here in EPR. And I would let her do the introduction. Tell us more about yourself before we dig in. Let us know who Ogechi is, and
Sure.
down to earth. Let us just have it as it is, nothing extra and all. All
Yes,
right.
yes, no, definitely. Thank you again for having me. As you said, Ogechi is just this girl that has trusted God throughout the journey of my professional career and ministry. I'm a project management professional, like you mentioned, been in the IT space for almost 10 years now, 9.5. I'll be celebrating my work anniversary in September, 10 years in the industry. And you know what they say, you need 10,000 hours to master your craft
Yeah.
or be the specialist. So I'm excited about that. So on the work front, yeah, I serve a lot of government clients. They're kind of little, they're disclosed, so I can't go into the detail, but doing more of that project management work, program management assistance. And then on the ministry side, I serve in the choir. I've served on different boards related to editorial work. So, for example, we just published an Impact magazine, and I was part of the editorial committee. I also love to sing, so I serve in the choir at our church. I love to write. And that's a little bit about me. I'm married. I have three little ones, and juggling everything can be a challenge sometimes. So that's why I'm passionate about coaching, helping people through their journey in life, and knowing that they're not alone in that journey.
All right. Thank you so very much. One of the other things that I know you just brushed over, just lightly,
Yes.
she is also an author. She has two books, and one is a devotional book, which I have taken time out to listen to, and it is powerful. It is
Amen.
very powerful. And your cookbook. She also has a cookbook.
Yes.
She also has a cookbook, and people, we are in for it. All right, so the topic we have today, what we're going to be discussing, and like I said earlier, you're also a life coach, and
Yes.
I know one of the things that as a life coach, for anyone who joined us, thank you everybody for joining. I can see people joining and wait. Go on this discussion. Please put your questions in the comments, and I will read it out to Ogechi. Okay. So what we're going to be trying to do today is we're going to be talking and having conversation around not just identifying your gift or your talent or your purpose, but also how you can use that in service, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what the topic is, purpose in service.
In
So you're
service,
also going
yeah.
to be helping it. Yeah. So I will be asking questions around that. So anyone who has questions in regards to that, please let us have that. So I'm just going to read out a couple of things, something that I have here. So at least to give people a background of what we're going to be talking about. All right.
Hello, everyone. I see them joining. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you. All right. So most people want to live a life full of meaning and purpose. We want to see that each of our actions, that everything that we do, every little thing that we do adds to a bigger picture. You know, we want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel like I am giving back. I am in as much as sometimes you don't get people to say that, we want to do that. And so hopefully with our chat today, I'm hoping that you will be able to help by telling us how you identified yours and how you were able to use that, so at least we could, and then so with the question that I have here. Definitely. Like you were able to, because like I said, you're a project manager, you're an author, you're a life coach, you're a mother, you know, you have all of that. So how are you able to identify? And you sing in the choir, girl, you got things going. How are you able to identify all of this talents and being able to use them the way?
Definitely. Are you still there? It's breaking up a little. Okay. So I think I heard the question. The question was how it's breaking up, but I think I can hear you now. And I think your question was, how have I been able to identify the varying gifts and use it to serve in my purpose, correct? So it's been a journey.
Yes.
I'll just take you down memory lane. You know, I came to the United States in 2006. And at that time, I was, you know, pretty young, in my 20s, early 20s, full of aspirations, different things that I wanted to do. Like I said, I love to sing. I knew that I loved to work with people. So I was voluntold into the first coaching role that I got as a choir director at the church. I hadn't even come to the States yet. They just said, I was in UK then doing my undergraduate. And they said, by the way, when you come here, you're going to coach the choir, okay? You don't have a choice. You're going to do it. And these are people that were like almost 2 times my age, you know, and being able to step into that role because I just enjoyed helping people bring out the best in them, be it singing at that time. I would just say, you know what, in a nice way, in a constructive way, still give feedback to help them improve on their talents and gifts and singing. So for me, I realized that there were other things that I love to do as well, right? Like cooking was one of them. Singing was one of them. On the professional front, I just would like to sit and hear people talk. You know, they would come to me with all the challenges that they're facing at work. Oh, but what do I do? How do I overcome it? How do I improve my work papers? And I started to say to myself, maybe I should think about this more as something I want to do, as, you know, a life calling. So I transitioned from that church. I joined my current church, Jesus House DC. And again, I felt clearly God saying, go to the teenage church. So when I went to the teenage church, I served there as their coach and choir director as well for years and years, over 5 years. And the journey wasn't easy because I think God was teaching me how to be patient as a coach. You know, when you're working with young people, they have the way they want to do things. You know, we'll set up a meeting and then they won't show up and like, oh, sorry, we can't make it.
Tell me about it.
Going through those motions and going through that season where you have to be faithful because you know that is what God has called you to do in that season. So I transitioned for that and then realized on the professional front, I started getting calls to come do coaching for the PMP because I've been a PMP for over 5 years now. So I started coaching people both virtually. I held a 100-man class. Thankfully, there was a 71% pass rate to in-person coaching. I did a smaller coaching with other senior executives at our organization. We coach about 20 managers and senior managers from across the region. So I realized that, you know what, maybe I should start this personally as well. Something I know our pastor always said, Pastor Gandhi, was that you have to give your gift free before you monetize it. So in those seasons of serving at, my old church, serving at the teenage church, moving even here at my current church, I've also volunteered to coach some of the women's choir. I realized that I can do this on the professional front as well. So that's how I started Coach Oge. That's how I started coaching for PMP courses. And that's how we're here today. So that's one piece. And the writing piece, we can talk about it, but I don't want to spend too much time just talking about myself. I want to get to the questions that people have.
Okay. All right. I have a lot of people saying shout outs. Okay. I have people here. I'll just read some comments here. Shout out to the multi creative out there. Understanding the season of your life. Some of the things. Okay. Kemi wrote here. She says, "Love how you leveraged your gift as a coach across the board." All right.
Thank you.
All right, so one of the things that you said there was you were able to identify the things that you love. You said, I love singing, I love people, I enjoy meeting people, I enjoy cooking. So was this, with all the things you're doing now, was it the fact that you were able to identify that these are the things that you love to do, and then you decided to, was that how, I just wanted to go back to that question.
Yeah,
So
I know that's a good point. Yes, your passion. So those were passions.
Yeah, identifying things that you love. It made it easier for you to identify that, okay, this is the way and this is the purpose that God has for me.
Correct. And one of the activities I do when I do coaching sessions is to have people list out all their passions. And when you do that, you find a recurring theme. So when I say listen out, okay, cooking, what am I doing currently? I'm blogging about food, that's writing. Music, what am I doing? I'm writing songs, that's writing related to the music. The Faith Proclamation book that came about, it was just me putting my thoughts down, and I decided the recurring theme was writing. So why don't I take all that I've learned over the years and package it up in a book and then monetize it? And so that's how the author side of me came to be. So to your point, identifying your passions and finding what the recurring theme is with the passion can help you hone in on that gift, and then you can serve that gift as your purpose. To me, I think I'm called to be a creative writer, and I could be a change agent through my writing, whether I'm writing a song, whether I'm writing a recipe book, whether I'm writing about God and the faith. But even today now, I found that I'm starting to specialize in a field. And when they call me up at work, it's, okay, Ogechi, can you write this piece? We need to broadcast it. It's IT, it's technical. Can you write it so that, a senior leader can understand it in a layman's term? And so I've become that point of contact for writing as well. So I think, to answer your question, it's good to know your passions, and don't say, how come I'm not like all over the place? Why am I passionate about this and this and this and that? You need to find the recurring theme tied to those passions, and that can help you serve in your purpose.
Okay, thank you so much for that. That was really impactful. So I'm just going to reiterate that for those who are just joining us right now. So identifying the things that you love, like one of the things you said, I ask people to list out the things that they love, and then you will find a matching, a connection,
a recurring thing,
recurring theme between them. So that is one of the ways that you can find your passion. So now I'm going to go on to the next question. Now that we say, for instance, we've been able to identify that, I love to sing, I love to dance, I love to interact, I love to do all of this. How can I now take all of that and then put it into service? How can I merge all of that after identifying the things that I love, the things that a friend of mine will say, the things that when you wake me up in the middle of the night that I am happy to do, regardless of whether I had enough to eat. So those are the things that you'll be like, okay, these are the things that I'm being called to do. These are the things I find easy to do. So how now, as a life coach and with your experience, how now can you take all of that, you've been able to do that successfully. How now are you able to take all of this passion, all of these things that you love to do, and now give it back in service?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I think part of it is also spending time with God in, prayer, soul searching. I do a lot of reflection. And sometimes people say, why are you looking back at the past? The past is not something you take as a reference to have a in quote, because sometimes when I started, I will have these pity parties. God, why me? Why are all these things happening to me? And then I take these reflection moments as a pivotal point to say, what is God teaching me out of this? And then what do I need to do in this season? So to answer your question, if you've identified your gift, you've identified your passions, sometimes you're even thinking that these passions or gifts are all over the place, and where do I go from here? How do I use it? The next step is to ask, spend some time in prayer and spend some time reflecting. In the book, I talk about 5 things to talk about the faith. What am I going to focus on? Lord, I know that I have all these gifts and talent, but what would you like me to focus on, oh God? A stands for act. Okay, once you determine what you're going to focus on, what actionable steps are you going to take to make it a realization? For me, I knew that I liked to write, but my challenge was I did not have time. I knew God was telling me, write this book, and there are other books as well that he's given me the titles. It's still the thing about time, so the actionable step I took was to block out 1 hour on my calendar from 8 to 9. I know that it's crazy during the day, between 6 and 8, I'm trying to put the kids to sleep. And between 8 to 9 is that time, I want to just relax and watch TV. So I said, you know what, I'm going to deprive myself of TV 3 times a week. So not to be so crazy, like it's also good to relax. 3 times a week, I'm going to turn off the TV, open up my computer, spend some time with God, and just write down my thoughts on what he's saying. And that's how the book started to take shape, consistently putting your thoughts down on paper. So that's the actionable steps. Now, next is inquire. Once you focus and you're starting to take those actions, inquire from God, how do I make the move? Because God wants to talk to us. To me, my challenge was that I was looking for a publisher to publish my books. And I just started talking to people, and someone said, you can self-publish your books on Amazon. I'm like, really? For 0 cost? So what have I been waiting for? So I inquired, I asked questions, and then I was able to self-publish my books online. Granted, it took me working, with some designers to get the cover. So that I had to do during those times that I blocked out for writing. So first you focus. First, the next is you take action steps first, then you inquire, ask people who's been in the industry that you're looking to get into, people who have done what you like to do, how they went about it. The next is to think, and the last is to hear from God. Once you hear from God regarding the next steps, go for it. I know that God is going to back you up. So that's my spiel, and that's what I could say, for someone who's trying to take those passions and turn it into purpose. Spend those times, block out time, and make time for your purpose. Like, don't think that it's selfish. For me also, I always thought it was selfish of me to have me time. It was always about everybody else. But I have to be a better version of me so that I can give to others. And I'm finding that those 3 times a week, 1 hour that I take just to reflect, to think about how I acted at work. Why was I snappy to that person? Oh my God, was I a good ambassador for Christ today? Maybe because I've been so stressed. I need a break. I need to tell my husband, can you help me with the kids? Little things like that have helped me just stay grounded and find my center in the midst of the craziness that's happening.
Very, 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 very insightful. One of the things that you said, self-reflection, and I think I just want to dwell a little bit on that, and I would, if you do not mind, if you can dwell a little bit more on that, on self-reflection, because most times we get caught up in everything that is going on, and we forget that we are people first.
Human. Yeah.
We're human beings, and you still have this emotion and all of that going on there. So now I'm going to ask you, as a life coach, how would you encourage people? Because like I said, most times we get caught up. We get totally caught up in everything that is going on around us. Even not to even talk about what is happening in the world right now.
Yes.
Get up with all the noise, the noise of everything that is going on. How can you take time to self-reflect in order for you to, we're still talking about the fact that you have all of this passion, you have all of these things that you love to do. How can you self-reflect? Take yourself, delete yourself, or rather just remove yourself from the situation and everything that is going on.
Definitely. Self-reflection, like you said, is key. I think one of the ways is to be in tune with your emotions. I think sometimes we are in tune when we have happy emotions. But when we have the negative emotions, we try to bottle it in and not address the why, the root cause. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? So for me, I know that there was a time in my life where I would just get up, open my eyes, and bam, 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 go, 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 go. Thoughts are running through my head. Oh, the kids that have not packed their bag. This, that. And then there's no time to just even ask God, God, help me today. So I realized that during the day, I would just be not the best version of myself at work or to my spouse. And so for me, I have made a conscious effort that when I wake up every morning, even if it's 5 minutes of just deliberately, like sometimes I do a Bible study, right? Sometimes I just close my eyes and just say, Lord, help me today. What happened at work yesterday? Why did this person talk to me that way? How did I feel about it? And then when you start to identify some of the things that are stress factors or triggers or things that are making you not to be the best version of yourself, having conversations about it, that's something that has also helped me in the self-reflection, because you can reflect on it and then dwell on it, and it also produces really negative emotions. For example, anger. Jesus was angry, right? There was a time when he went to the temple and they were doing things that were not, were not good for the house of God. They were buying and selling, and he had that negative emotion, and he turned up the tables and everything. And I think sometimes when we also have negative or anger in us, we just bottle it up and say, you know what, I'm angry, this person did this to me at work, that's not nice, and that's where it ends. But that can actually be sour and not good for our emotions and our well-being, because if you bottle that anger up, it starts to build bitterness and all these kind of things. For example, in the workplace, there are times where my coworkers have done things to me that I knew that this is just not right. And I dwelled on it during my self-reflection, and it made me feel some kind of way. Like I felt that thing in my heart that's like, you know what, I'm angry about this, and it's okay to be angry, and I want to talk about it. And so rather than just going to work and having a sour attitude and, saying, you did me, I'm going to do you back, I put some time on their calendar. I'm saying, you know what, do you have 15 to 20 minutes I just want to touch base and talk about some things that happened last week. I just put it in the body of the email. I don't put any context. And then when we finally have that meeting, I say, you know what, this is what happens. This is how you related to my email. This is how you related to me in the meeting. I didn't like that. How can we have a conducive work environment? Having conversations, and the work one is an example, but even if it's with your spouse, if your spouse does something you don't like, rather than bottling it up and not being the best version of yourself, what I've found as a life coach that helps is having conversations constantly. That's like purging yourself of all the bitterness and anger, so that you can actually be in the space for me where I can create. Because when I'm stressed out, I can't create. When I'm upset about something, I can't create. So I'm going to stop talking, but I hope that answered your question in a way.
Yes, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So I want to read. I see someone has a question here, so I want to read that. So please, people, please put in your questions in the comments, and I will try to read it. So someone asked you, do you still connect with young people?
Yes, I do. So in a different capacity, because I had stopped the teenage church for a while, just because of life and other things that I started to take on. And that's another thing, like everyone has a capacity, right? Some Bible says to some he gave one, he gave five, he gave three. So as I realized that as I'm starting to take on more, I've had to drop a few things, but staying connected to that which is my core. So young people are my core. So yes, I still have time to coach, but at a different capacity. I'm part of Daniel Leadership Institute, and they do a mentor and mentee program. So I mentor a college student who's about to get her master's, so just entry level, trying to find her feet in the professional world. So she's like in her 20s. I mentor her, and then on my job, I also have junior staff that I mentor actively, and that is also, has been interesting, because young people, especially millennials, they have a different way of doing things. So understanding their style, not being regimented, and also in that, not taking anything they do personal, because in coaching millennials, it's just a different mindset, so being able to relate to them. So yes, I've still been able to connect with young people through DLI and through the coaching programs at my job.
Okay. TT says, she wrote here, she says conversations can be tricky.
Yes.
And Isioma also says, yes, emotions can be tricky. So how best, before I go on to my next question, just for us, for those who are reading it, that yes, it can be tricky. How best would you say, for instance, someone that is upset? I know we're kind of
Yes.
like, we should go back to the purpose. Why would you, but just to deal with this,
Dealt with the
how best would you
emotions.
ask, would you advise someone to have a difficult conversation?
First of all, don't have the conversation when you're feeling that emotion. That's the number one, right?
Okay.
Because especially in the work environment, even with your spouse, we know it, or friends, at that moment when you're feeling all those, negative emotions, our words are very powerful, like I say in the book that I wrote. So you want to make sure that you're making your point across in a very not diplomatic, but in a very constructive way where you get your point across without leaving that person feeling worse or using words that you later regret. So emotions can be tricky, conversations can be tricky. What I say is give yourself 2 days to think about the whole situation, reflect on it, and think about what you want to point out of that situation that will help that person not maybe act towards you that same way, or will even help you have a more constructive conversation. So that's what I'll say. Definitely give yourself time between the point in which that thing happened and the point in which you're having the conversation.
Okay. All right.
At least two
Thank you
days.
so very much. Okay. So now back to our topic and what we were talking about. So that was just a little.
Yeah.
All right. So back to what we're talking about. So now we've been able to, at least you've also told us how you identified your passion, your the things that you love, and how you were able
Yeah.
to form that into service. So now one of the
Yeah.
questions that I have, like I said, people, please don't forget to put your question there. So now you have been able, you said something when you were speaking. You said, give your gift for free first before you money.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
how can you elaborate more on that?
Sure. So, again, like most of us have different passions, right? So say somebody likes to edit. Say they like to edit. They're really good at editing. And I know that there are different ways that a person can make money out of editing. There's a website called Fiverr that you can pay someone up to 40, $50 an hour to edit, your information. But you can start by saying, you know what, I know that there's a department at my church that helps people with their resumes. I want to volunteer there and just help people edit their resumes for free. That way you're having real-time experience that counts towards that your 10,000 hours of mastery, right? You're having real-time experience. You're adding, value to the lives of others because some people cannot afford those services and still developing and honing those gifts. I know for me, I know that writing and publishing and editing was something that I just had an interest in, and I still want to explore it in a greater scale. So I knew that joining the Impact magazine and being part of an editorial board, it's a church thing, so it's free, gave me exposure to, first of all, printing, the cost, editing, going through various revisions of the work to make it crisp, perfect, pagination, things to look out for to make a document or a document that's ready for publishing, like 100%, So in those situations, you're also gaining experience while serving your gift for free. So it's a double-edged sword, that it's a give and take. And you go into it not saying, okay, now I'm going to do this for maybe 1 month and then just up and leave. You still find ways to stay plugged in because there's a blessing that comes not just from the monetary benefit of doing something, but the fulfillment, the value you're adding to the lives of others. And so that's what I'm going to say. Once you feel like you've gained some mastery of something, you can monetize it. In my sense, with the writing, once I felt like I had gotten a good hang of, what it takes to publish a document. I did I self-reviewed I had an editor edit my book, but then I did 3 rounds of reviews myself, again, page by page, page numbers, everything, before I finally sent for publishing. Because again, I didn't work with a publishing house. So I wanted to make sure there were no typos in the book, things like that. But that came from serving my gift for free. Then I could do it and get paid, $10 a piece of the book.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm still going to go back to that. One of the things I would like you to also share with us is, because when we were talking, you
Yeah.
spoke to me and you told me the process of how publishing a book is now made easy, because
Yes.
people like me, you know, you still think that, oh, I still have to go find a publishing house, I still have to go find all of that. So I would like you, later on, for you to still tell us, like, anyone who's
Sure.
listening, who have always wanted to write a book, but are just like, where do
Yeah.
I start from, going to the
Yes.
and all of that. You could just speak to us on the steps on how, you
It's
know, how you were able to do yours. All right, so now
sure.
so we're going to speak about that some
Later. Okay.
later,
Mhm.
but I just want you to also, so now that you were able, you have you had identified your gifts,
Again.
and now you've been
Hmm.
able to say that, okay, this is what it is, this is my purpose, this is what I want
Hmm.
to do, and I'm going to give it out for free for me to get more experience in it and all of that.
Yeah.
Most times
Yes.
when you hear people say serve, they always feel like you have to serve in the church, you have to serve,
Yes.
especially for Christians, you have to serve in the church. If you're not serving in the church, you're not serving. You know, those are some of like the things that people have in mind.
Ideology.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
ideology. If I'm not serving in church, is that, do you have to? Because even from your own experience with in church and all of that, do you have to
Mm-hmm.
serve in church? In as much as, yes, I encourage people to serve in church, I just want us to,
Mm-hmm.
because there might be some gifts that I don't know if you can use in church. I'm not
Uh-huh.
sure, but
Yeah.
just for you to shed more light on that.
No, it's actually a great question because as I was reflecting on this session, something laid in, I was laid in my heart. I heard it once by a very, very prominent speaker, Pastor Mrs. Ibukun Awashika, and she said that some people are called to the marketplace and some people
Mm,
are called to ministry and people are called to both. Again, understanding the seasons of your life, that God, in this season, maybe I may be called to ministry, but then there are other people who may never get the gospel except you, who is in the marketplace, who's sitting in those meetings, who's providing those coaching sessions, say on PMP, but doing it with such excellence that comes from, you working as a Christian, can then tap into to know, okay, what is about this person? Then you can preach the gospel. So I personally believe that we don't all have to serve in church. It is good to serve in church. Most people start in church, and I know we should still stay connected to church. So find a ministry in church where you serve. But I feel like some people feel bad when they're serving in the marketplace and people are saying, oh, all you do is work, 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 and you don't have time for God. No, because there are people who also need to be reached in the
yeah.
marketplace,
That's why
and you
EPR
can
is
serve
here.
your gifts. Yeah.
We're taking
Yes,
we're
that's fine.
taking markets.
Exactly. We have to take the
We're taking
marketplace.
territories,
We
you
have
know.
to take the
We're taking the
marketplaces.
world for Jesus.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
still
So I
being
say do
professional
both
about it.
and still be professional about
Still
it.
be
So to
about
your
it.
point, right now I still find at least one department to stay connected with and serve. But if there's a season in your life where you're doing more in the marketplace than in ministry, just know that the pendulum can shift and don't feel bad about it. Maybe that's where God is calling you to be at that season of your life.
Okay, so I'm gonna read out some comments here, and please forgive me if I don't. Okay, there is Diana says there is a blessing in adding value to others' life. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and here I have, service is a win-win-win for you, the organization, and accelerating the manifestation of your purpose. Definitely a witness to that. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, and I have, God has
There's
sent.
one question. Oh, so go ahead.
All right,
Sorry, go ahead.
God has sent us out into the world. The marketplace is where we are needed. So,
Yes.
so even with your gift, I have a question here, so I'm going to read that shortly. But I just want to
Mm-hmm.
say this, lest I forget. So even if wherever you are, we're called to be the light. So wherever you are, you have a purpose, you have something that God has given unto us. He has given unto you one talent or the other. So it's for you to
Mm-hmm.
identify that thing. And now we're trying to talk on how, like Ogechi is telling us the process of how she was able to identify hers, and now she's out there, she's a publisher, she sings, she ministers in church, she's a project manager, leading lots of projects and all of that. All right, so I'm going to read out, I think this person, that's Titi, she has two questions here.
Okay.
One is, how do you serve when given assignments you are not
excited
excited
about?
about, and
Is
the
there
other
a
purpose
purpose in that?
is there purpose in that?
That is an excellent question. Did you have two questions, or you want me to tackle that one
No,
first?
you could tackle. No, that's just a question.
Okay,
I
perfect.
thought it was separate, but it's just in
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a two in one.
No, that is an excellent, excellent question because I've had those real time situations in my life, in my career. And to answer it right off the bat, there is purpose in everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. But when we're in those moments where it's like, this assignment sucks, why am I here? I can give you an example. I had rejoined the organization I am with right now. I worked there for 5 years. I got tapped to go join another organization and it was more money. I went over, but I realized that I was connected to, this organization. So I came back. When I came back, they said, you know what, you're new, so we're going to put you on this new project. That's okay. I humbly served on that project. And then something interesting happened. When everyone was getting the cool gigs, the cool jobs, the cool assignments to go do some strategy work and present to the senior leaders, I was tapped to write meeting minutes and be the logistics person. You know, I'm like, I have an MBA. I have 7 years of experience and I'm doing meeting minutes and organizing meetings. But the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it well. So I said, how can I make this more efficient? I'm going to be the best minute taker. There is no typo. I'm going to write this minute like there's never been a minute taker before. They want me to coordinate with offices and figure out calendar. I'm going to be the best coordinator ever and even come up with a spreadsheet that tells you who's who and where. So I try to make it efficient, even though for 1 year doing that work, I was miserable. And I said, God, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I want to live. I want to quit. I don't want to do this. But there's always purpose in that because people will see the work you're putting in. People will see the hard work. And with time, when God says, you know what, my daughter, that's okay. You can transition to something else. You will then, by the grace of God, go to something. I'm in a role right now where I love it. Love, love, love it. I'm liaisoning with, different program offices. I get the opportunity to brief to senior leaders. I get the opportunity to do the things I really want to do. But it's still that same space. I was able to navigate from that place where the work really sucked to do something that I really loved. So when you're in those moments or those seasons where it feels like, God, where are you? Why am I doing this? I know I'm made for more. Stay there, be faithful there. That little, do it well, and God will trust you with bigger things. Yeah.
Best minute taker ever.
That's what it takes. And I was
That's
developing my writing and editing from that.
thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm just looking at our time. Oh, can you imagine we've been here
We're
for more
almost
than
we're
30
almost
minutes?
done in time. Oh
I'm like, oh my
man.
God. All right, so that oh my God, I didn't even see time fly by. So I want you, like I said earlier, one of the questions I said that you will try to help us answer, or rather help me share with people, is the steps on how you can publish a book. Because I
Yeah.
know for a lot of people, God has laid it upon your heart or something
Yes.
to write, and you're just being, I just have that heavy on my heart right now that there is someone here that God has laid it upon your heart to write. However,
Yeah.
you're shying away, saying because of the process and all of that. So can you just give us like the easy step by step on how you were
Sure.
able to do yours? Because when you told me about it, I'm like, that didn't
I
sound
said,
good.
yeah. When I heard about it as well, I was like, what? How haven't I known about this all this while? Okay. Very easy. First thing is to go and create an account with Kindle Direct Publishing. It's called KDP. KDP is linked to Amazon, and even though it says Kindle, you can have your books in other platforms other than Kindle. So you can have a paperback, you can have it on multiple platforms across the globe in different countries. So that's the first step. You go online, www.kdp, or if you go into Google and you type in Kindle Direct Publishing, you'll create an account. Once you create an account, the next thing you need is a cover page for your book, even before you have the content. So what I did was I just went on Fiverr. They have really, really super cool designers and moderate designers, cheap designers. It depends on what you want. So you could just have, your book title. If you have a title, an image that you like. In my case, I put my picture on the front cover because I've seen a lot of up and coming authors put their pictures just to get their names out there. So you just need a cover. My cover cost me within like $100 range to get a really good book cover. So you load the cover, and it has to be in a specific format. I believe it's JPEG, not PNG, or one of the two. You make sure that the Fiverr person knows it's for Kindle Direct Publishing, so they put it in that format. So once you load your cover, you have your page set up, you're going to ask or request a free ISBN number. Kindle gives out free ISBN numbers that you can use for your paperback books. So you're going to go online. Again, this is really user-friendly, the website. So first step, you go to KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, you create an account, you load your cover, you ask them for an ISBN, you put it in, and then there are two options. The first option, if you have your manuscript ready, you can load your manuscript that has to be in a PDF format. So that's, you have to have, worked on your book, or at least been working on it, had an editor edit the book. That's if you're ready to load and publish. If you're not ready to load and publish, like the current project I'm working on, I just went and created the cover, put it on there, and it's on hold because I'm still working on the manuscript. So your manuscript, once you're done with the first draft, you can seek the services of your friends first to help you proofread it, just to make sure it cuts down on some of the typos. Once you have a friend or a trusted friend or two proofread it, you can use a publisher. An editor. I also use a professional editor on Fiverr. She costs maybe $60, $70 to edit. Then once she sent it back to me, I did one or two more rounds of edit, PDF'd it, loaded it onto KDP. So once you load your book, you have the option to make it live. Then once you get it to them, the folks at Amazon will they say it takes about 30 days maximum, but mine published in like 2 weeks, a week or two. They will do their quality check to make sure that the book is good, Amazon ready, and all of that, and it'll pass. Really, like, out of pocket, I think it cost me $200 or $250 to have my book go live. You'll put a price in based on, books in that category. If it's faith, you figure out what are faith books costing. If it's cooking books, you kind of find out how much you want to price it. And the good thing is they'll put it on multiple platforms. Like this, my book is on the US platform, on the UK platform, the Japan, Amazon website, the Australia. Like, it is so automated these days that all you have to do is make time to write the book. If you write the book, you just commit, like, say I'm willing to budget $250 or so, $500, however fancy you want your cover to be, to make a really cool cover and have it crisply edited. Your book is live on platforms across the world. So I found that really interesting. I'm like, what? I'm gonna keep writing now. So that's how in a nutshell I published my book. There's one other feature also I wanted to let people know. You can have your book on pre-order. So that is, if you really, really want to get your name out there and you're going to be able to finish your book within a year, you can have your book already on Amazon just with the cover, without the manuscript, as pre-order. And people can go and purchase the book, but the given is within that 1 year, you have to finish the book and upload the manuscript. If you do not finish your book and upload the manuscript, then you're banned for pre-order for another year. So they won't let you pre-order, and then they'll return the money of all the folks that pay for the book ahead of time. So, but that's an option. If you really want to get your name out there, you're going to finish your book within a year. You can also set up your cover, set it as pre-order, so you can start marketing your book while you finish your manuscript.
Thank you for that well detailed process. So I hope everyone, anyone that has, that you've been thinking about writing a book, you could see that it's not as difficult as
it's not as complicated.
It's not as complicated as it usually sounds. All right, I have a question here, and I think probably you had answered that earlier, but I'm just going to ask, so probably maybe the person missed that. And it says, okay, what inspired you to write your books?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I haven't answered that. So the Fate book was actually inspired by the COVID and my husband. My husband works in the healthcare field. And when he had just, we're talking, COVID had just hit, everyone was panicking. He told me, oh, by the way, there are people dying left and right in our labs, and I have to do the samples. I have to work with COVID patients. I have to test their samples, and I was freaking out every day because we didn't know much about COVID. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be a widow. Why do you have to even be on that job? Can you quit? Do you have to work in such environment? So I said to God, rather than stressing out out and stressing out and stressing out. I know that I wanted to write this book for a while. I just stayed and I started writing what I would say to myself. You know how the Bible says David encouraged himself in the Lord. I think the first chapter was on safety, and the scripture was, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and they are safe, and I started proclaiming faith words that I would pray over me and my husband and my family, that we will not die, we will live. There's safety in God as he goes out today. These things I was praying to myself, the Lord protect him. I started documenting them and compiling them, and it happened that our organization gave us like a 2-week sabbatical for those with children. They give us time to kind of sort out our childcare. So during those moments when the kids are sleeping, I would just be writing because I wasn't working. And at the end of that 2-week sabbatical, I had actually finished my manuscript finally. So I said, you know what, it's time to publish it. I had a friend proofread, I worked with the editor, and boom, I published it on KDP. And that's the inspiration behind the faith story. Thanks, guys. I see Drell Dross, Nanny's sister. Thank you. I'm glad to share the story. And the cooking book, again, I have always been writing cooking blogs. And I decided, you know what? I compile the faith, but why don't I compile recipes as well? And the goal was to have young people, because I like to stay connected with young people in diaspora, or young girls who may want to cook African food but think it's complicated, and they say the best way to a man's heart is his tummy. So it'll be nice for them to know how to cook all these African food if they marry an African man who really likes ignon and egusi or stuff like that. So that was the motivation for the cookbook, just to compile my recipes from my blog and a few more that I heard whenever I post. People are like, oh, how do you make this? How do you make that? I put that together and I published it on Amazon as well.
All right. Thank you so very much, Ogechi. We could
Thank
actually
you,
go, but our time is fast spent. So now I would
Hi,
like
Pastor
you.
Nika. I just saw the Pastor Nika join. Good afternoon, Mama.
All right. So I would, as a last word,
Sure.
I have one question here that I
Okay.
wanted to ask, but because of time, so I'll just let you just summarize. As a life coach, how would you encourage someone who really still finding it hard to identify what their purpose is, and how they can, like you have just told us your journey,
Yeah.
how you have done all of that, and I hope that has inspired one or two people here today, because that is one of the reasons why we're doing this, also introducing the EPR women to everyone. So how would you advise someone who is still finding it hard,
Yeah.
because probably they have thousands of things that they like to do. Now they want to drill down on that. How would you advise them to take it from passion to
To
service?
purpose.
Yes,
Yes, that's an
from that
excellent
all the
question.
way to that.
Yes. So from passion to service to purpose, I think these activities, like I talked to you about, the importance of having those reflection activities, they may seem very simple, but they help you kind of find commonalities, that recurring theme. So what I would advise that person to do is to just do a vision board activity where they're putting all their passions on one side, and on the right hand side, determine, okay, what are the recurring themes and how can I hone in on my purpose? For example, I talked about the blogging. Okay, I like to blog. Blogging is similar to writing. Also, I like to write about food. I love writing, right? Okay, I like to write songs. Why am I interested in songs? Kind of question those passions. Why do I high pray? Why do I love to do the things I do? Okay, writing songs is also tied to, being an author. So I think a simple vision board exercise where you identify all your passions, write it down, be it like the minutest things that you don't even think is a big deal, like organizing, right? I talked to you about just loving to organize, loving to be like that liaison between people, talking to this person, talking to that person, putting it together. Once you identify it, then you'll start to identify those recurring themes, and it will easily translate into what you need to do in terms of your purpose. Also taking time to talk to God about it in prayer and listening for him, having him tell you, okay, my daughter, do this, don't do that, focus in this area at this time and this season of your life. So just do that activity, write everything down, identify recurring themes, put some 3 to 5 goals that you like to do tied to your purpose. For example, for me, I knew that my recurring theme was writing. So what were my 3 to 5 actionable steps? 3 times a week you have to write. You have to turn up the TV and pick up that computer or pick up your journal and write down your thoughts. And as you start to do that, you'll feel God speak to you and talk to you and give you direction on what you need to do. If it's a different thing, maybe it's not writing for someone, maybe it is, I don't know, what are the things that people love to do? Any other passion, that like public speaking, right? Some people are really excellent public speakers and they're called to be great preachers or great, what you call it? They're supposed to be, great facilitators of meetings with thousands and thousands of people. Spend time. What am I going to do consciously as an action to help improve that gift so that I can serve it as my purpose in the marketplace and ministry with people around me? As you start to do those things, and I say a vision board because when you see it each day, if it's something you're going to put in your room or something you're going to have on your phone, just document it. It reminds you not to lose track of your gifts, passions, and then tie it into purpose.
All right. Thank you so very much for your time, Ogechi. Thank you
Thank you
much
for having me.
Yeah. And we have comments here, actionable steps, love it. Good, so good. And
Thank you, guys. Thanks for
Thank you
all
so
the
much for sharing.
feedback as well in the chat.
Thank you, Oge, for sharing. This is amazing. Thank you so much. You have a whole lot of people sharing. Thank you once again, Ogechi, for sharing. And one of the things that I will just, as we bring this to an end, is one of the things that Ogechi said is, which I just want to reiterate again, is about service. You don't have to serve in a church. You can serve in the marketplace. And from the comments, a lot of people do agree with that even the word of God, the gospel is needed in the marketplace. So you don't, some people do not see, if you do not serve in the church, they do not see it that you're serving. We are all called to serve one way or the other. Take wherever you are, take that place for Jesus, take that place for God, and live his life, show his love. We are his representative. We are his ambassadors on earth. And thank you all once again for joining EPR. We look forward to seeing you in our various programs. We're not just a group of professional Christian women. We are prayers. We pray. We make things happen. We're taking territories, and you are free to join us and any of our other events. We have webinars going on monthly. We have prayers going on. So you can go to our page. You can go to our page to get more information. Thank you all so much for joining, and this has been a very great time with you, Ogechi. So till next time, when that's next week. Next week when we have another Insta Live from me and everybody here. It's have a great day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all so much.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks for having me. Have a wonderful one, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much, Shala. Thank you, everybody. I see you. All right. Someone's saying that share the names of your books.
Oh, sure. The first one is called Faith Proclamation. I actually have it here, Faith Proclamation. It's a prayer, devotional, and faith journey, journal. And the second one is West African Recipes. But if you just go to Amazon and type in Ogechi Ucheatu, those 2 books will pop up. Thank you for asking.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.